Hey, Reiner.
Hey, Miller.
How you doing, man?
Great.
Good. We're here in our equivalent of a Star Wars set. Pretty impressive, huh?
It's very heavy on Wampa.
There's a lot of Wampa. There's some Wampa there, a little Wampa here.
Wearing the 50-cent bulletproof vest. Very slick.
It's classy stuff, which is a little hint of what we're going to be talking about today, which is the end of Star Wars Galaxies.
I thought we were talking about Overblood, so I wore my Peepo shirt.
We can talk about Overblood too if you want to,
Sure.
but what I wanted to talk to you about is the fact that I sat in on the last 2 days of the long-running, 8 years running Star Wars Galaxies, which was, let me tell you, pretty surreal.
I checked out your videos that you
Yeah.
recorded, and some of that stuff is insanity. Like, I can't believe what they allowed players to do at the end there. And it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it was not like the dramatic send-off I thought it would be of like Alderaan blowing up or something. It
Right.
just looked like the game was broken.
Yeah, well, the last day they had this weird thing where Jabba the Hutt hosted a party right next to the Sarlacc pit,
As he does, right?
like you do, right, when you're Jabba the Hutt, and you get out there, and there's all these people who are out there, like, kind of celebrating, and there were fireworks going off, and Bib Fortuna, Jabba the Hutt's, like, seneschal or whatever, is standing there, and he would let you both change your size and change into a costume.
Yeah, I was watching this stuff, and first off, it looks like Jabba's out there just suntanning.
Yeah, he's
Like,
just hanging
what is he
out.
doing out there? Second of all, I thought I was tripping balls when I was watching the video. I was like, this can't be real. Like, I see like a 50-foot Rancor.
Yeah.
There's stormtroopers. Oh my God, we're dead.
So they had that weird event going on, which was pretty cool, just as a place for people to gather and kind of hang out and talk. And that kind of ran that whole last day that the game was up. But they also actually had like adventure opportunities going on that last day, some big invasions of a couple of the big cities. They actually declared a winner the night before things ended. Each server had its own winner. On the server I was playing with, the Alliance won, or the Rebels won, rather.
For a game that looks, that is noticeably really old
Yeah.
and looks old, it's still kind of awe-inspiring when you see those big ships overhead
Mm-hmm.
and like Slave One just kind of hovering there. It's very cool looking.
Yeah, definitely. Because they had when you would go to, I think it was Corellia, one of the cities on Corellia, I arrived at, and you'd look up, and there was a Star Destroyer like 100 feet over the city. And Star Destroyers are big, so it was like taking up the whole space above the city. And occasionally these Imperial transports would arrive, and stormtroopers would pour out. This is kind of like the Imperial's last-ditch attempt to hold on to the Empire or whatever.
Did they win?
No, the Rebels won on this server. Although
That's disappointing. But was there like a number? How many servers were left at the end?
there were, I think, maybe about a dozen servers, maybe a few more than that. I think about 2/3 of them the Alliance won, and the other third the Empire won.
So the Alliance overall took the highest number of victories.
It seems like it, yeah. Although I guess I don't know what the server populations were on those different
Right.
servers. So they kind of resolved the big long running galactic civil war conflict, which you'd kind of been accruing points for years. They resolved that one night, and the next day was when they had all the craziness with the Jabba the Hutt, change your costume, all that kind of thing. And they did those last invasions where like Naboo was under attack by rebel forces trying to retake the city.
Naboo.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Really? Like, that's a place of importance?
Maybe because the Emperor originally came from there. I don't know.
That's really stupid.
It's weird. But anyway, so that was pretty crazy. I had a slightly different experience being a person. I mean, I actually played Galaxies back in the day, like 7 years ago was probably the last time I logged in before this. Going back in was really unusual because I got to see kind of how far the game had come, and most of the game systems I barely recognized anymore because it's gone through so many reiterations and
Right.
revisions and stuff. But the thing that was really fascinating to me was the actual distribution of players on these last couple of days because, of course, there's been a mass exodus of players over the years, but there's all this infrastructure that's been built up by players in the game.
Yeah, I saw some of those videos
Yeah, right.
of just these desolate cities that were built up. It's kind of like scary to see that. Like, so much love and care went into nurturing this community, and it's just empty now.
Oh, it's totally empty. And some of them are these like well-ordered streets that they clearly have had like a city planning committee like put together where buildings are going to be and that kind of thing. And it's just, there's nothing there anymore. And
now it's
nobody
all
there.
gone.
Yeah, I mean, the
Completely
buildings are still there, but you can run across these planets and you come across these player cities. And there's nobody to populate them. But the other cool side of that, that was this kind of this weird insight into the psychology of people, I think, was that as I would run around, I would come to certain locations, these little hubs of people, and people would always be together in these tight-knit groups, like in these vast virtual play spaces. You'd find groups of like 36 players all together in one little spot, hanging out for these last final hours to like say goodbye to each other and whatever. And they would just stay there like that. They weren't playing really anymore.
That's so sad.
I know. And so it would start out, you'd see these emotes popping up of people like so-and-so dances with so-and-so and someone gives a hug to somebody. And by the last like 10 minutes, there's a lot of people who are literally like, typing in emotes like so-and-so cries on so-and-so's shoulder. And I mean, you got to figure, certainly a lot of people like make fun of the guys who play a game like Galaxies for 8 years and don't get involved in any other games or whatever. But for the people who are playing it, like there are very genuine relationships and friendships that they make with these people in these virtual spaces. And when a game turns off, like this one has, it's kind of like...
It's really sad.
It is sad.
See, if I designed the game, I would have gone for the shock factor, and I just would have had a Death Star pull up next to their planet. It would have blown it up, and their accounts would be gone.
Yeah, right.
And then they'd have to go find each other in the forums and Twitter and all that stuff and be like, holy crap, that was insane. My planet just blew up and my character's dead.
Right.
And I would have ended it that way.
Right. Instead, what they had was sort of poignant, but very simplistic. It was just that you had the last hour. They shut down all the other kind of crazy events that were going on, I think. And the last hour was just for people to kind of like hang out and say goodbye. And so you had this message that popped up in the last few minutes that was like, please find an appropriate place to halt your character. We'll be doing one final save on the server before shutdown. And that was what it was, is that like they like saved the game, so presumably the game exists as a file somewhere for each of those servers in its final game state where your characters were, but there's no plans that you'll ever get to play that again, right? It's just
throw it in a time capsule, bury it.
It's gone, yeah. And then there was finally just in the last few seconds, you see people being like, well, it's been fun, everybody. We'll see you later, and hope to play with you guys again. And then you get connection to SWG lost, and you got kicked back out to the character selection screen, and you couldn't log back in.
And then you fired up Old Republic.
Yeah, which really was the other part of the kind of surreal experience, right? But to go from this game that has been running for so long and has this committed group of players, but not a lot of players, right? And these weird isolated enclaves of people and these totally empty cities. And then you log into Old Republic and there's just dozens of people running around and these flashy graphics. And
the tears didn't last long for many people. I'm just going to imagine. The Star Wars fans that were there till the end are probably playing the Old Republic as well.
Probably so. But Old Republic certainly is a different play experience. I don't think it's the social game, at least not yet.
I'm sure a lot of people don't like it as much as the old game.
And so I'll be interested to see, as reports flow in over time, if some of those really hardcore Star Wars fans will still be excited about the Old Republic. I hope so, because as you and I both know, Old Republic's been a lot of fun so far, and
it's great. I love it.
I think it has the potential to really be a great place for Star Wars fans to get their fix and get to learn more about that fiction and everything.
I agree.
So it'll be great. Well, thanks for sitting in. And
a last note: I've had my hand on this wampa the entire time, and sweaty palms and wampas do not go together. So. Never do that.
So there you go.
Yeah, this is disgusting. I would never touch this thing again.
Words of wisdom to finish this off for the day. Oh, I appreciate that.
And call it a day.
All right, thanks, man.